Biomedical Science. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to our last career seminar for this semester. And this is by Rebecca Sleater. And Rebecca was a Rowan University Biological Sciences graduate in 2014. And she was a distinguished graduate from that class. She won 2 awards, won the Renlund Award for Pre-Health Excellence given out by the department. And then a university-wide award called the Lawson J. Brown Senior Scholarship Award, given to the graduating senior with the highest GPA at the university level for that year. So congratulations to Rebecca. So she's a distinguished graduate from our program. Following her bachelor's degree in biological sciences in 2014, she went on to earn her master's in public health from the University of South Florida in 2018. Since then, Rebecca has gained multiple accreditations related to her work as a registered environmental health specialist, and she's currently employed at the Salem County Department of Health. So I will, I'm pleased to have her here to give her a talk called From Dirty Dirt to Septic Systems to Food Safety, the Average Day of a Registered Environmental Health Specialist. So thank you so much, Rebecca, and welcome. We will have, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat and we will ask those as we proceed. All right.
All right.
So, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Krufka. I appreciate that. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for having me here tonight. I'm going to start my slideshow here. Does everyone see that okay?
Yep.
All right, so like Dr. Krufka said, my name is Rebecca Sleater, and I'm currently a Principal Registered Environmental Health Specialist, or REHS for short, at the Salem County Department of Health. I work within the Environmental Division as a supervisor, and I'm here to talk to you about what it's like to work as an REHS, how to become an REHS, and advancement in this field, and just a little bit about my journey to becoming one. I put my email on the slide in case anyone thinks of any questions that they don't have the opportunity to ask during the presentation. So feel free to reach out to me via email. And I can also email this presentation to Dr. Krufka so she can share it with anyone who's interested. So we'll get started. All right, so I just want to start off with a little bit about myself. So as Dr. Krufka said, I'm a Rowan University graduate. I was in the class of 2014. I got my BS in the biological sciences. And then I went on to pursue my master's degree in public health from the University of South Florida and graduated in 2018. USF has a requirement that MPH students have to obtain the Certified in Public Health credential in order to graduate. So that involved taking a national public health exam, which focused on the 5 core areas of public health. And then I went on to obtain my REHS license in 2019 and was hired shortly after by Cumberland County Health Department. I worked there full-time from 2019 to 2021, and then I transferred over to the Salem County Department of Health as a full-time REHS. I was then promoted to a senior REHS at the end of 2021 until 2022, and about mid-year of 2022, I was promoted to my current title of a principal REHS. And later on in the presentation, I will go over the differences in job duties between these positions, but mostly with each title, there's more supervisory responsibilities involved. And then in 2021, I obtained my lead inspector risk assessor license, which is required to conduct environmental inspections of the homes of lead poisoned children. So later on, I'll also go into more detail about that program. All right, so starting off, what is an REHS? An REHS is an individual who has an active REHS license issued by the New Jersey Department of Health. REHS and enforcers for many of the state's public health and environmental work as health inspectors, environmental compliance managers, and environmental consultants, both the private and public sectors. Performing sanitary inspections and environmental health work that involves enforcing sanitary, environmental, and public health laws is the primary responsibility of an REHS. An REHS conducts inspections, investigations, and educational outreach activities to enforce these sanitary and health laws. When violations of sanitary and health laws are found, the REHS must determine that cause and take proper corrective action. It is also very important that an REHS can identify, evaluate, prevent, and eliminate environmental health hazards through the inspection and investigation process. At the end of the day, the primary goal of an RHS is to protect the public's health and the environment. So before we go any further, I just want to make sure everyone has an understanding of what public health is. Public health is the science of protecting and improving the health of people and their communities. This work is achieved by promoting healthy lifestyles and environments, researching disease and injury prevention, and detecting, preventing, and responding to infectious diseases. Overall, public health is concerned with protecting the health of entire populations. These populations can be as small as a local neighborhood or as big as an entire country or region of the world. Public health professionals try to prevent problems from happening through implementing educational programs, recommending policies, administering services, and conducting research, in contrast to clinical professionals like doctors and nurses, who focus primarily on treating individuals after they become sick or injured. Ultimately, public health's main goal is prevention. So what does the environment have to do with public health? So the field of public health is made up of 5 core areas, and one of them is environmental health. Environmental health is a key part of any comprehensive public health system. More than 12 million people around the world die every year because they live or work in unhealthy environments. Environmental pollutants can cause health problems like respiratory diseases, heart disease, and some types of cancer. Environmental health focuses on reducing people's exposure to harmful pollutants in air, water, soil, food, and materials in homes and workplaces. The field works to advance policies and programs to reduce chemical and other environmental exposures in air, water, soil, and food to protect people and provide communities with healthier environments. And before I really get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation, I just wanted to quickly go over government structure so everyone kind of understands how laws and regulations are passed down to the county level where I work. It all starts off at the federal level where the law or regulation is created. The regulations we enforce at the county level usually come from either the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Environmental Protection Agency. Those regulations are then adopted by the states, and the federal standards are the bare minimum that every state has to adopt. However, the states can choose to be more strict with how they enforce it. The regulations at the state level mostly come from the New Jersey Department of Health or the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. The county health departments then adopt the state regulations and enforce those regulations. All right, so now that we have an understanding of public health and environmental health, I want to talk about the areas of environmental health and REHS works to enforce. The program areas that REHSs are responsible for enforcing are split between 2 areas, consumer health and environmental health. The consumer health programs fall under the authority of the New Jersey Department of Health, and focus on protecting the health of the consumer. The environmental health programs fall under the authority of the Department of Environmental Protection and aim to protect the environment and the public's health. At the local level, the counties deliver these programs on behalf of NJDOH and NJDEP. I like to call us REHSs that work for the counties the jack of all trades because we have to have a broad understanding and knowledge of these program areas, where as REHSs and inspectors at the state level, such as DEP and DOH, usually only specialize within one of these program areas. For example, DEP has multiple divisions such as water compliance and enforcement, air compliance and enforcement, solid waste, safe drinking water, etc. And inspectors usually only work within their assigned program area. So I wanted to go into a little bit more detail about the consumer health and environmental health programs that the county REHSs are responsible for implementing and explain what we look for during an inspection and our general job duties. So starting off with retail food safety. The Retail Food Safety and Surveillance Program incorporates inspections as well as education and enforcement for ensuring safe food handling practices. The main goal of this program is to prevent the spread of foodborne illness. Everything from fine dining restaurants to church programs giving away free food need to be inspected by the health department. Our office conducts application reviews of new facilities and any facilities looking into altering or expanding their current business. After the application is approved, we conduct what's called a pre-operational inspection. If everything checks out, the facility is approved to open and operate. After the pre-operational inspection, the facility is inspected again 30 days later for their operational or routine inspection, which is conducted once a year thereafter. Every facility is inspected at least once a year, except for schools, which are inspected twice a year. Examples of what we look for during our inspections include proper cold holding and hot holding temperatures, proper reheating, safe cooking temperatures, appropriate sanitizing, the overall cleanliness of the facility. Food and water are obtained from proper sources with records. If the facility is serviced by well water, we ensure the water has been tested appropriately. Hand sinks are equipped with hot water, soap, and paper towels, and employees demonstrate correct glove usage. We also inspect mobile food vendors such as food trucks. And then we have the public recreational bathing program, where we perform inspections on all public bathing facilities in our jurisdiction. Public bathing facilities include lakes, pools, splash parks, and spas. Each location is inspected twice per year to determine if the facility is operating in a safe and sanitary condition. The first inspection is the pre-operational inspection, which is conducted before the facility opens. Once they pass this inspection, the facility is approved to operate. We then go back a few months later to conduct their operational inspection. Some of the things we look for during the inspection are proper signage, stocked first aid kits, certified lifeguards are on site, and we check the facility's chemical monitoring logs to ensure the pool has the proper chemical concentrations. These facilities must also conduct weekly water testing, and these results are emailed to us from the lab. We monitor these results closely for any significant failures. And then we have animal facilities. Our inspections of animal facilities such as kennels, pet shops, shelters, and pounds determine the safe and sanitary housing and handling of animals. These facilities must be inspected at least annually by the local health department and found in compliance with all applicable laws, regulations, and ordinances before municipalities can license their operation. Some of the things we look for include the proper cleaning and sanitizing of kennels to control disease hazards and odors, adequate housing, the animals are being provided with the proper amounts of food and water, the facility is keeping the appropriate records on site, and there is a certified vet record on site. Each of these facilities must have a disease control program that is overseen by a veterinarian. The supervising veterinarian must sign off annually on a form stating that such a program is in place. And then we have the body art program. In the state of New Jersey, body art establishments must be licensed or permitted to operate within the local health department's jurisdiction. The term body art includes piercings, tattooing, and permanent cosmetics. Body art establishments must be licensed or permitted to operate with approved practitioners. Inspectors perform annual site visits of these establishments to ensure that there is ongoing compliance. During our inspections, we look over the facility's record keeping, sterilization procedures, piercing operations, and documentation reflecting the artists have received the appropriate training. Inspectors also respond to complaints of unlicensed body art facilities and complaints regarding inadequate sanitary practices. And then we have youth camps. All youth camps must obtain a license issued by the New Jersey Department of Health prior to operating. Licensed youth camps are then subject to pre-operational inspections, which are conducted by us at the county, as well as operational inspections, which are conducted by the state's Public Health and Food Protection Program to determine compliance with the youth camp safety standards. In New Jersey, not every youth camp needs to be inspected. Only youth camps that engage in high-risk activities or that incorporate overnight stays as part of their programs are required to be inspected. Inspectors must determine that safe operational practices are in place prior to children attending the camp. During our pre-operational inspections, we verify that staff are properly certified and have had the appropriate background checks. The counselor to camper ratio is in accordance with the code. The facility has emergency plans in place, and the facility has a proper meal plan. And continuing on with the consumer health programs, we have public campgrounds. Inspectors are required to inspect campgrounds for safe and sanitary operations, including water, sewer, trash, swimming, vermin, etc., at least once per year. The sites are inspected to make sure there are no septic overflows, trash and garbage are handled properly, sites are free of noxious weeds such as poison ivy, and bathhouses are properly equipped and maintained. And then we have the public health nuisance program. So health departments handle a variety of complaints under this code that was adopted in 1953. Inspectors respond to citizen complaints concerning general health nuisance conditions affecting the public. Some issues are referred to other agencies for further enforcement, such as the municipality or the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Most common complaints investigated under this program are trash accumulation in homes or in yards, standing water that attracts mosquitoes, lack of heat, vermin such as rats, roaches, mice, and bed bugs, and mold. As you can see, this code can cover a wide variety of complaints. And then we have rabies. Anytime a dog or cat bites a person and the person receives medical care, healthcare providers are required to report the bite to the health department for us to do the proper follow-up and prevent the spread of rabies. We attempt to locate the biting animal and place it under a 10-day confinement where the animal is observed for any signs or symptoms of rabies. The confinement usually takes place in the animal owner's home. If the biting animal is a wild animal or dies during the confinement period, we can arrange for the animal to be tested for rabies at the state lab. We also work with the townships to arrange rabies vaccination clinics every year. And then we have Right to Know. The New Jersey Worker and Community Right to Know Act requires public and private employers to provide information about hazardous substances at their workplaces. The act informs public employees about chemical hazards at their workplace so they can work safely with these hazardous substances. Additionally, the act provides data for monitoring and tracking hazardous substances in the workplace and the environment. The New Jersey Department of Health provides funding to our department to provide assistance to public entities that are experiencing difficulty with filing their state reports or conducting product inventory. We conduct site visits to assist the managers with navigating the state's website and provide outreach to government entities that are unsure of the requirements. And then lastly, for the consumer health programs, we have child lead. Whenever a child up to 72 months of age becomes lead poisoned, the Environmental Division must conduct an inspection of the child's primary residence if it was built before 1978. It is routine for children to be tested for lead at ages 1 and 2, and if it is found that the child has elevated blood lead levels, the case is referred to us via a state database. The goal of the environmental intervention is to identify lead hazards such as lead-based paint, lead dust, and contaminated soil. Inspections require testing using special equipment and methods to detect lead in paint and lead in consumer goods such as toys, pottery, dishes, and spices. We also conduct dust wipe sampling to detect lead and dust, which is generated from chipping and flaking paint. If lead hazards are identified during the inspection, we then order the abatement or removal of the lead hazards. As mentioned previously, the environmental programs at the county level are administered on behalf of the NJDEP through the County Environmental Health Act, or CEHA for short. The DEP provides the counties with grant money to administer these programs. So we'll start off with septic systems. The septic program can be broken down into 3 parts: septic inspections, septic complaints, and septic permitting and installation. A third-party septic inspection is recommended for existing septic systems going through real estate transactions. The company performing the inspection must fill out a report and submit it to the health department for review. We review these reports for any signs of malfunction and compliance with any permits that have been issued for the system. REHSs also investigate septic complaints such as illegal septic installations, malfunctioning septic systems, or other septic-related issues. The complaint is investigated and enforcement action is carried out when appropriate. REHSs review septic applications for new construction, alterations, and repairs. The review must ensure that the engineer who designed the plan has met the standards identified in New Jersey State Septic Code. After plans are approved, the installation of the system can begin. The REHS then will inspect the installation to ensure it was installed per the approved plan. And then the next program we have are wells. REHSs are responsible for ensuring that wells installed meet the applicable state codes. Well permit applications are reviewed to determine compliance with the codes, and then occasionally field inspections of the installations are performed. Once the well is installed, the water supply will need to be tested. Well water also needs to be tested if a property is going through a real estate transaction per the Private Well Testing Act. At the request of some townships for the certificate of occupancy, occasionally our office draws up water certifications, which is a certificate stating that the well passed all of the necessary parameters. We also receive notifications from DEP for certain parameter failures. We then have to notify properties within a certain radius of the failure and suggest they also have their water tested. And then we have the on-call rotation. All health departments must maintain a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week on-call rotation to respond to various public health and environmental emergencies. Usually this on-call rotation responsibility lies with the REHSs and the Environmental Division. The most common types of incidents we respond to after hours are restaurant fires where food safety may be compromised, hazardous material releases, odor complaints, and noise complaints. And then next we have the hazardous materials, or hazmat for short. Through the CHA grant, we are required to ensure that around-the-clock hazardous material response services are provided to our jurisdiction. Our county has a trained hazmat responder who responds to most incidents. He is responsible for stopping a release and mitigating any hazard that may be posed by the material. In bigger and more serious incidents, we may be required to assist in the initial response. Once the scene is stable and secured, it is turned over to the health department representative who ensures that the responsible party cleans up the released material using an appropriate environmental contractor. And then we have odor and noise enforcement. As mentioned previously, REHSs are responsible for responding to odor and noise complaints. Starting with odor, the Air Pollution Control Act prohibits the emission into the outdoor atmosphere of air contaminants in quantities that result in air pollution. Odor is an air contaminant and therefore may be considered air pollution if it is present in a way that unreasonably interferes with the enjoyment of life or property. We will initiate an investigation in response to complaints from one or more citizens regarding objectionable odors. In order to conduct an odor investigation, an REHS must be certified by taking a 2-day course at Rutgers. Also part of the CHA grant that the health department has with the DEP is to provide community noise enforcement when commercial or industrial noise affects neighboring homes or businesses. The health department's environmental staff is routinely certified by Rutgers through their community noise enforcement program. The health department maintains 2 noise meters that are calibrated annually by a certified lab. And lastly, on this slide, we have safe drinking water. When a non-residential facility is serviced by a private well for their water supply, they may be subject to safe drinking water regulations. A facility has to serve a certain number of people during a specific time range in order to be regulated under safe drinking water. Examples of facilities that are registered are schools, restaurants, daycares, and office buildings. Each facility is assigned specific testing schedules laid out by the DEP that the facility must adhere to. The DEP and health department monitor the tests closely to ensure that the facilities are not providing contaminated water. Our inspections involve discussing any testing violations with the facility, reviewing the facility's various plans for maintenance of their treatment systems, inspecting the well for any damage, and inspecting the treatment systems. And then we have pesticides. Under the pesticide program, we perform the following inspections: commercial landscaping and lawn care operators and unregistered pesticides being sold at grocery or hardware stores. For the landscaper inspections, we ensure that the company applying pesticides has a license to do so and is properly applying approved substances. We also respond to pesticide complaints regarding the chemicals used, the application method, or the credentials of the applicator. For the unregistered product inspections, retail stores are inspected to ensure that the pesticides being sold are EPA registered products. And then we have the air program. Under the CHA grant, we enforce regulations in the air pollution program. We conduct the following inspections: boilers and generators of 1 million BTUs or greater, dry cleaners, and auto body shops. For boilers and generators, we ensure that the equipment has a valid DEP air permit. The equipment is not exceeding its annual testing and maintenance limit. The equipment is not tested on bad air quality days. The equipment fuel does not exceed 15 parts per million of sulfur, and the engine is EPA certified. For dry cleaning facilities, the equipment is inspected to ensure all parts are functioning in accordance with DEP regulations. Records and receipts are reviewed to verify proper waste disposal and solvent use limits are not exceeded in accordance with the facility's permit. Auto body shops are inspected to make sure each shop is licensed and whether the facility applies paint coatings at a rate equal to or greater than the regulated rate. If the shop applies paint greater than the regulated rate, the facility must present paint content information, the type of spray guns used, and how they are cleaned. Records of waste disposal and handling procedures are verified. All materials must be stored in non-leaking containers that must be kept closed unless being filled or emptied. We also investigate many types of complaints related to air pollution. Those include open burning, idling vehicles, visible emissions, and particulate emissions. And then we have solid waste. The health department has the role of ensuring that all of the solid waste generators, transporters, recyclers, and disposal facilities follow the solid waste regulations. We conduct routine inspections of the landfill, as well as inspections of farmland mulching operations, tree part processing, solid waste trucks and containers, convenience centers, public work yards, commingled inspections, which involve inspecting loads brought into the landfill to ensure the load does not contain more than 50% of recyclables. And we also inspect recycling at businesses throughout the county, soil and fill processors to ensure contaminated fill and soil, AKA dirty dirt, is not being sold to the consumer. And we also inspect composting operations. We were also the agency to enforce the single-use plastic bag and polystyrene foam ban in our county that went into effect May 4th of 2022. Our office also investigates complaints of illegal dumping. And lastly, we have the ambient stream monitoring or harmful algae blooms program, and the short acronym for harmful algae blooms or HABs. Under the ambient stream monitoring program, we collect samples of DEP selected streams and provide the samples to DEP for testing. We also monitor local bodies of water for evidence of harmful algae blooms and notify the state if laboratory testing is warranted. We also support our municipalities in posting public notices or notifying residents if a water body has a HAB. All right, so now we'll move on to some of the daily job responsibilities of an REHS. One of the great things about being an REHS is that every day is different. You do develop a daily routine of some sort, but I found that you could be planning to go out and complete something that day, but end up doing something completely different just because other situations always arise that need to be addressed. Typically, you do start your day checking and sending emails, making or returning phone calls, preparing your schedule for the day, and preparing for inspections. As to be expected, the majority of your day is spent in the field performing inspections or complaint investigations. Once you return to the office, you must document your inspections. All health departments have a database of some sort that tracks your activities. You also have to write reports for certain investigations, issue notices of violation, and calculate or issue penalties. And REHS's job duties do consist of in-office activities as well, such as reviewing applications and plans for septic systems, wells, food facilities, kennels, pools, etc. Another job duty you may be responsible for is pursuing court action for noncompliance. The salary for an REHS can vary widely depending on where you work and your level of experience. Your level of education and professional credentials also play a role in your salary. On the lower end, municipalities with limited budgets have starting salaries of anywhere between $32,000 to $40,000 a year, while those with larger budgets may have starting salaries of $45,000 to $60,000 a year. I can say that as far as starting salaries, I rarely see anything in the 30,000s. Most starting salaries in New Jersey start at least in the 40,000s for government. The median salary reported for environmental scientists and specialists was around $73,000 in 2020. The private sector salary tends to be higher than the public sector, but the public sector tends to offer better benefits such as quality health insurance plans, a pension, lifetime benefits in some cases, more paid time off, paid holidays, and a better work-life balance. And when I refer to the private sector, that means the segment of the economy that is owned, controlled, and managed by private individuals or enterprises, and the public sector is the part of the economy that is controlled by the government. So since I work for our county health department, which is a government agency, I work for the public sector. And going back to salary, keep in mind that as you gain experience and receive promotions, your pay will increase. And here's a chart that kind of nicely displays salaries for various positions. One with an REHS license can obtain broken down by city, county, and state health department, federal health department, and the private sector. An REHS can have a variety of job titles in the private sector. I'm not going to read through all of these, but I just wanted you to see the various job titles you can hold in the private sector and the different salaries. And there are certain job skills that are highly recommended one have in order to be an REHS. A knowledge of the natural sciences is very important, and a bachelor's degree in biology would definitely fulfill that skill. The ability to be assertive is necessary because at the end of the day, an REHS is an enforcer, so that is a required skill one must possess. The ability to read analytical data is also important because whether it be water testing results, soil testing results, or data for lead inspections, an REHS is provided with all kinds of data that he or she must be able to interpret appropriately. And the ability to generate and analyze reports is something an RHS does almost on a daily basis. Being able to use computer programs such as Microsoft Office is essential, as well as other software programs such as surveillance systems and databases. Math skills are
The freezer and was really upset that I would let her take them out.
Math skills are crucial when reviewing septic plans. You work with elevations and various conversions, so good math skills are essential. Being able to understand and interpret environmental protection and public health laws is important for obvious reasons, since an RHS is the individual enforcing these laws. You have to be able to enforce them effectively by being able to understand and interpret codes. Being able to learn and perform water and soil sampling techniques is essential to ensure an accurate sample for testing. Effective communication is crucial because RHSs interact with people all day long, whether it be during inspections or investigating complaints. Public speaking is a skill you probably won't use too much, but there will come a time that you'll be required to deliver a presentation. That could be for a food safety training to the public, a lecture at a conference, or a presentation to your municipalities. And as with most jobs, organization and multitasking are necessary. It is very rare that you ever have one task to complete at one time. So multitasking and prioritizing are incredibly important. Many of the programs at health departments these days are grant funded. So being able to interpret, write, and manage grants is a plus. Teamwork might be the most important skill on this list. The environmental division's top priority is to meet all deadlines, whether that be for inspections, plan reviews, investigations, and so on. The only way those deadlines can be completed is with teamwork. And attention to detail is important when writing reports and documenting findings. These reports have to be incredibly detailed in the event a case were to ever go to court. Mapping skills can be very helpful in certain situations, and being bilingual, especially in Spanish, can always be helpful in any career. All right, so before moving on to career path, are there any questions at this point?
So, can you hear me, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there were a couple that came in.
Okay.
One was about, so that it seems like you are like a jack of all trades, right?
Yes.
And so the idea, or the question was, well, how much of the time do you spend doing are you in the office, the lab, the field, communicating with the community? So what sort of percentage of your time do you spend doing various aspects of the job? Because there's a lot that you're doing.
It is it's a lot. You have to have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas. So every day is different, but I would say for the most part, I usually spend my first hour of the day, going over emails, making phone calls, preparing for inspections. And my start day is at 8 o'clock. So I'll get into the field at around 9, and I probably won't get back to the office until around 2 or 3 o'clock. And then I leave at 4. So then I have that time to, document inspections, write reports. So the large part of your day is in the field.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Another question came in about the teamwork. So you said that teamwork skills are really important, and I know we try to stress that all the time to the students.
Yeah.
Who are the other people that are on your team, right? Are they all the same sort of registered inspectors, or are there different people on that sort of team?
Yes. So we have one other principal REHS, and we're the supervisors of our division. And then we have we have 3 senior REHSs and 1 REHS. One of our seniors is part-time though. So that does make a difference. And then we have 2 admin staff, 2 secretaries who kind of control, the phones and the files in the office. So that's our team. Some health, and some health departments, Salem County is small. Other health departments have a lot more, depending on the size of the county.
Great. Thanks so much. I'm sure there'll be other questions by the end.
Okay.
So thanks.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So now it's time to move on and talk about how you obtain your REHS license. So you have to qualify to sit for the state REHS exam by meeting several requirements. And this is a nice graphic that Rutgers put together to display how to qualify for the REHS licensing exam. And as you can see, there are multiple pathways to qualify. First, you have to earn a bachelor's degree from a college or university accredited by the Commission on Higher Education. And that degree has to consist of at least 32 credits in the sciences. And on the next couple of slides, I'll go into more detail about what courses would count towards that. And rather than meeting the 32 credit requirement, you could also qualify for the exam by completing an EHAC accredited degree program. And what that means is the National Environmental Health Science and Protection Accreditation Council accredited this program. But there are only 38 of these programs in the US, and unfortunately, none of those are located in New Jersey, so most people probably don't qualify by that pathway. So circling back to the 32 credit requirement, once you have that under your belt, there is one other piece of criteria you have to meet. You can either complete the Rutgers EPH course and a DOH approved 200-hour field training, which is arranged by Rutgers, or you can complete 1 year of full-time work at a DOH recognized local health agency, or you can complete additional courses in 5 DOH specified topic areas and complete a DOH approved 200-hour field training, which you have to arrange yourself. And I wanted to point out there is an error on this graphic. It says 6 DOH specified topic areas. That should say 5. All right, so getting into a little more detail about those requirements. The first requirement, like I said, is you have to hold a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university. Your degree must consist of 32 credits in biology, chemistry, physics, and/or environmental sciences and mathematics. Only up to 6 of the 32 credits may be in a college level mathematics, and at least one of the courses must be a lab course in biology, chemistry, physics, or environmental science. Courses with grades less than a 2.0 are not acceptable for the requirement. And the behavioral science subjects such as psychology and social neuroscience, and the social science subjects such as sociology, economics, history, anthropology, and political sciences are not acceptable. And with a bachelor's degree from Rowan, you would easily fulfill this 32 credit requirement. And then this is a list of recommended courses that Rutgers put together that would qualify and count towards that 32 credit requirement. I won't read through all of these, but I will highlight the courses I know Rowan does offer, and I went ahead and highlighted them in red. So courses such as anatomy, animal science, biochemistry, biology, biostatistics, calculus, chemistry, ecology, environmental science, genetics, microbiology, molecular biology, physics, physiology, statistics, and virology would be acceptable to count towards that 32 credits. And the courses with the asterisks are those math subjects where only 6 credits can be used towards that 32 credit requirement. And in addition to the bachelor's degree, you can complete a course in environment and public health, which is conducted by an accredited college or university recognized by the Office of the Secretary of Higher Education and equivalent to that offered by Rutgers. The only program I'm aware of that's offered in the state is the Rutgers program. And after successfully passing the course, you have to complete a field training approved by the NJDOH. The Rutgers EPH course is 8 weeks, usually held in early summer once per year. And since COVID, the class has been held in a hybrid format. There's 3 days a week in person, and then 2 days per week are online. The topics covered include environmental pollution, epidemiology, public health microbiology, public health sanitation, soils and septic systems, water and wastewater, pest identification and control, and other selected topics. The field training consists of a 200-hour unpaid internship arranged by Rutgers at a local health department to gain hands-on experience. And the early registration fee for the course is $4,295. After the early registration period, the fee goes up to $4,850. Another way to qualify is to complete 1 year of postgraduate full-time employment with a local health agency recognized as such by NJDOH. This employment shall be under the supervision of a New Jersey licensed health officer or a New Jersey licensed REHS. For this type of position, you can be hired under the following job titles: an environmental health specialist, an environmental health specialist trainee, or an REHS trainee. And then we have pathway 3, The last path to qualifying for the exam is to complete an additional 5 undergraduate or graduate level courses in the following areas: environment and health, including food safety, epidemiology, public health practice and administration, microbiology or communicable diseases, and soils. These courses must be worth a minimum of 2 credits each. Courses with grades less than a 2.0 are not acceptable. And then you'll have to complete a 200-hour field training with a local health agency recognized by NJDOH. This training must also include 5 days of training with an NJDOH REHS. And this field training you have to set up yourself. All right, so after you meet one of those pathways to qualify for the exam, you then have to apply to sit for the exam. An application must be submitted to NJDOH that includes your completed application form, original documentation of your training, education, and experience, an official sealed copy of your transcript, official course catalog descriptions of the courses that qualify you to take the exam, and a check of $50 for the application fee. Once your application is received, an initial review is done by the Office of Local Public Health to make sure your application is complete. It is then passed on to the Public Health Licensing and Examination Board for a final review. And the exam is offered 2 times per year in June and December. So the actual exam consists of 100 multiple choice questions and can cover the following topic areas: public health administration, communicable diseases, food protection and safety, water and wastewater, vectors, pests and weeds, epidemiology, potable water, air quality and noise pollution, swimming pools and recreational facilities, New Jersey statutes and rules, and hazardous materials. And in order to pass, you have to score a 70%. So there are many internships and classes out there that would be helpful to students seeking a job in the environmental health field. Internships at local health departments are the best way to know if being an REHS is the right career for you. I encourage you to reach out to your local health department's environmental division if you would like to set up an internship. Some other organizations that offer free classes and internships are the American Littoral Society, the Watershed Institute, the South Jersey Land and Water Trust, and the New Jersey Pinelands Commission. And the AmeriCorps New Jersey Watershed Ambassadors Program is administered by DEP, the Division of Water Monitoring and Standards. The goals of the program are to monitor stream health through performing visual and biological assessments. Individual AmeriCorps members are assigned to each of New Jersey's 20 watershed management areas to serve as watershed ambassadors to their watershed communities. And that's a pretty helpful experience to get exposure into the field. And I would definitely encourage you to create a New Jersey Learning Management Network account, or NJLMN for short. That way you can see what types of meetings and trainings are being held that you could attend. Anyone can create an account, and you can also take a variety of online classes to gain knowledge in different areas of public health and environmental health. So once you've obtained your license, there are many job opportunities available to you. Most licensed REHSs become government health inspectors at the local or state level, but there are countless other opportunities. At the federal level, opportunities are available at the Food and Drug Administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. In the private sector, careers are available with nonprofit environmental groups and environmental consulting firms. Examples of various job titles you could hold are health inspector, sanitary inspector, environmental compliance manager, environmental consultant, quality assurance specialist, food safety manager, or environmental specialist. And I just want to point out that the REHS license is not required to obtain all of these job titles. However, it does open up some more opportunities for you. And this slide explains what career advancement looks like at the local or county health department level. With every step, the positions gain more supervisory responsibilities. Obviously, we all start out as an REHS. After 2 years of experience as an REHS, you then become eligible to progress to a senior REHS. A senior REHS begins to take on some supervisory responsibilities, such as taking the lead over other REHSs and trainees, providing guidance and direction in a particular program, and providing training to staff members. After 4 years of experience as an REHS, you become eligible for the principal REHS position. The supervisory responsibilities involved with this position include supervising REHSs, organizing field and office work, developing effective work methods, taking the lead in planning, training, and supervising the work of REHSs, planning, organizing, and assigning work, and evaluating employee performance and conduct. After 6 years as an REHS, you are eligible for the chief REHS position. And supervisory responsibilities with that position are managing REHSs and staff, managing work operations, and has the responsibility for employee evaluation and for effectively recommending the hiring, firing, promoting, demoting, and or disciplining of employees. The highest supervisory title in the environmental division is the environmental health coordinator position. To be eligible for this position, 6 years of experience in work involving the identifying, preventing, or eliminating environmental health hazards in one or more areas of environmental health, 3 of which shall be in a supervisory capacity is required. Supervisory responsibilities include planning, developing, coordinating, directing, and administering environmental health programs, planning, organizing, and assigning work, preparing the division's goals, supervising and evaluating work, ensuring staff is properly trained, and developing policies. Most health departments have an environmental health coordinator to oversee the environmental division, but at Salem, we kind of work a little differently. My coworker and I are principals, but we pretty much perform all of the job functions of an environmental health coordinator. And with additional experience and education, that can help an REHS move up through the ranks or move into related careers like planning, epidemiology, or becoming a New Jersey health officer. So the future of environmental health is looking very bright. The employment of environmental health specialists is projected to grow 5% from 2021 to 2031. This is significantly greater than other physical science fields. Concerns about harmful substances and their suspected links to the environment and public health will almost certainly promote job development. An increase in job opportunities is attributable to various causes, including the rising public interest in the environment and the fact that many workers in this sector will retire. All right, so I just wanted to wrap up the presentation with talking about how I ended up where I am today. So ever since I was in middle school, I wanted to pursue a career in veterinary medicine. I was the first person in my family to pursue a college degree, so the whole thing was a new and unfamiliar experience to me. The whole process was a lot of trial and error. I loved biology in high school, so that influenced my choice to major in the biological sciences. And that major also met all the requirements I needed to gain admission to veterinary school. So it was kind of the perfect choice. I did some interning and shadowing during my college years in a couple of veterinary practices and slowly began to realize that was not the career for me. After that, I started considering medical school and physician assistant programs and started volunteering in a hospital emergency department. And after volunteering there for some time, I realized direct patient care wasn't for me either. So far, the moral of the story is to shadow, intern, or volunteer in the career field you're considering before pursuing it to make sure it's really for you. And then after graduating from Rowan, I was a substitute teacher for a couple of years while I was trying to figure out my career path, which I actually really enjoyed. Being a substitute teacher taught me some really valuable skills. It improved my public speaking, teaching, planning, and organizational skills. And then I decided to pursue my MPH. So as a requirement to graduate, I had to complete a semester-long field experience with a public health agency. And I completed my field experience with the Gloucester County Health Department. And they had me spend some time with each division, and I started out with environmental. And it didn't take me long to become completely fascinated by what the REHSs did. I couldn't believe there was actually a career like this where you could spend so much time in the field and out of the office while helping the environment. There were so many programs in that division. They all fascinated me, and I've always been an advocate of protecting the environment. It seemed like the perfect career for me, so I decided to pursue it. I was able to use my field experience towards the 200-hour internship requirement to sit for the REHS exam. And I fell under pathway 3 that I spoke about earlier, the 5 NJDOH specified topic areas. All of those areas were either covered under my bachelor's degree or my MPH. So not too long after obtaining my license was when I was hired as an REHS with Cumberland County Health Department. And my goal is to pretty much keep advancing in my career. I take advantage of any training opportunities or opportunities to gain new certifications or licenses. And I am also currently working towards obtaining my health officer license. I hope to have that under my belt at some point this year. And a health officer is defined as the public health chief executive officer of a health agency. So essentially you oversee the entire health department. So if there will be another opportunity to give a presentation like this at Rowan, I hope to be talking about my career as a health officer next time. All right, any questions?
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was really helpful and very
Thank you.
detailed, and I really appreciate it. So some questions that have come in that I would love to ask of you. Let me see, I scribbled them down, so I have to read my own handwriting.
Sure.
All right, so it seems like, so you seem to address many critical health related issues. And I'm sort of wondering which ones are the most famous, or your favorites and the least favorite. So what's the most favorite and least favorite thing that you have to do on your daily basis? I mean, besides dealing with emails, we know everybody hates that. But
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of what aspects of health and environmental health are sort of the most personally rewarding for you, right? And then the ones you're like, hey, I really don't want to inspect that septic system, right? I'm not quite sure, you know.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, I really like septic systems. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I do love the inspections. I love reviewing the plans. I guess 'cause I've always loved math, and reviewing the plans is a lot of math. So I do enjoy that. I also enjoy, I would say, the solid waste program, just because there's so many elements to that. Like I said, you inspect the landfill, you inspect convenience centers, you know, we enforce the plastic ban. So there's just so many elements to that that I just really love that it's always something different. As far as my least favorite, I would say honestly, it's lead, child lead. And that sounds strange, I guess, because like it's a great program because we're trying to protect, you know, children's health, but I just feel like sometimes you get stuck in this endless cycle because, you know, you point out to property owners like, hey, this stuff has lead in it, it has to go. But these, the work that has to go into it is so much money. And a lot of people don't have that. And there's not a lot of help from the state as far as grants. So you just get stuck in this cycle where people can't afford to do the work. And it just feels endless at times. So that's probably why that's my least favorite program.
Yeah, great, thank you.
But the inspection side of it, I do enjoy. That is interesting.
Great, great. There's a question about inspections, right? Are the inspections scheduled or spot inspections, like pop-up inspections for the various things you went through earlier?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that were inspected. Are you people expecting the inspectors or not?
It depends. Septic inspections, yes, they're always scheduled, but you know, as restaurant inspections, no, they're completely unannounced. We go out unannounced because you want to see, you know, how the establishment operates, you know, on a normal basis. If they know you're coming, you know, they're going to make sure everything's clean and perfect. So yeah, they're always surprised to see us when we're unannounced. And yeah, I would say most of our inspections are unannounced. Like the solid waste inspections, we kind of just go out and do them. We don't let them know we're coming.
Yep, great, thanks. There was a question about what happened in the early stages of COVID for your career and your office, right? So
Oh, yeah.
you know, like it's related, obviously, but what sort of adjustments or involvement in public health related to COVID happened for your position?
Right. Yeah. So I was at Cumberland County at the time, and yeah, we were forced to work at home a couple of days a week, which as an inspector, it's kind of hard. So I kind of got deemed the septic inspector. So I was out doing all of these septic inspections, and then we would go home. I'd log all my inspections, and you know, we would do our plan reviews at home. And we'd have a couple of days in the office to, like, you know, input stuff into the database or print out stuff. So it was really hard. And I think we worked that way for almost 6 months. So it was tough, but we managed to get through it. And we did, you know, help with the COVID vaccination clinics. We did work those. So we were kind of involved with that as well. But yeah, quite the adjustment.
Yes, yes. I'm just going to go check on the other computer, see if there's anything on the chats there. So just give me a second. Sorry about that. So the only other question, and it's maybe he can respond, is what's been the strangest odor complaint?
I haven't gotten too many, but I do have a coworker who she also had worked for Cumberland County before I did. And there was this produce place. They would kind of take like their waste and spread it on a farm field. And she said that odor was like the worst thing she ever smelled. And I'm not gonna lie, it's more under control now, but we did get odor complaints of our landfill for a while. So on a nice hot day, that's quite the smell to experience. So yeah, I would say those were probably the most interesting. Food waste has the worst smell you can imagine when it's breaking down.
All right. So thank you again. I really appreciate you spending time with us. And could you do us one favor and go to your first slide where you had your email again?
Sure, yeah.
So we can let the students see that one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you again so much. We really appreciate to see alums come back and alums doing great and interesting things. So thank you again.
Thanks for having me. And I can email this presentation to you if you would like to have it.
That would be fantastic. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.